Hello, I'm Rob, and coming up on R&B Reviews, was one of the most talked about movies of the summer blockbuster season. Not because it's supposed to be one of the greatest, but supposedly this was one of the worst movies of the entire summer blockbuster season. Of course, I'm talking about the reboot of the Fantastic Four, and I'll have my review coming up. Thank you for checking out R&B Reviews. The Fantastic Four is a reboot movie from 20th Century Fox. It was directed by Josh Trank. And, of course, many of you know these are Marvel comic book characters. And, of course, I think it was back in 2005 and 2007, there were two Fantastic Four movies from a completely different universe. And now Fox wanted to try and start over again. Otherwise, from my understanding, if they didn't, their characters would be reverted back to Marvel, and then that would give them a chance to, make Marvel movies and possibly in the same Marvel Cinematic Universe as Iron Man and all of them. So Fox went ahead and rebooted the movie, and it came out August 7th, and since then it got bad reviews from critics, and a lot of moviegoers didn't care for this movie either. I finally got around to seeing it, and yes, I understand this is Batman. This isn't the Fantastic Four behind me. I couldn't find a Fantastic Four poster, but I tried my best. I finally got around to seeing it. I tried my best not to read or watch reviews before coming to see this, but it was hard when you see articles all over the place about, the director blaming the studio for messing up the movie, taking it away from him. The studio said this. People on the set said that. It was just it's really hard to do that. It can be distracting. So I did try to go into this movie with a clear head, not thinking about whether this was really a bad movie or not, and just let it try and get my opinion started based on it. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you my review of it. I haven't really read or watched other reviews, so it's possible I might cover similar ground, and I am going to not compare. I'm going to just do this as a movie-going experience. I'm not going to compare this to the comic books because, for one, even though I'm familiar with the characters, I haven't read a comic book, so I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, well, Rob, if you read the comic books, you would know this, or you wouldn't feel that way. I'm just going to judge the movie just as the movie. Now, this Fantastic Four reboot, I thought the movie had some good ideas, but I thought it was poorly directed, and it's one of the few movies that I can think of where it's off to a very good start, but it falls apart as it goes on. As I mentioned, Josh Trank put the Fantastic Four as a somewhat realistic superhero drama instead of a comic book action movie that you see everywhere. I think the movie, I'm going to start with the positive things I liked about it before I go into what I didn't like. I think the movie had some nice ideas, and I like that there tried to be some conflict among the characters, even though I felt like they weren't always developed, or I felt like something was missing just to give it that extra kick. Plus, I think moviegoers do expect superhero movies to have some action scenes, even though the few that appear in the movie I felt were underwhelming. Now, I liked how the characters stand out from each other personality-wise. You got Reed, played by Miles Teller. He's someone that's interested in science, and he's a bookworm. You have Ben, who goes on to become the Thing, who comes from a more blue-collar family. Sue, she's a little more snappy towards Reed, and Johnny Storm is a more rebellious type of person. And Victor Von Doom, he's a jerk, and he thinks he's the best thing around, and he's a know-it-all. The personalities and some of the dialogue I thought helped with the character development, and when we get a scene where we try to learn about characters, for example, we learn that Sue was adopted by Dr. Storm, and Johnny thinks his father prefers her over him. Now, the problems that I had with the movie is everybody sounds monotone. Even some of the cast members, including children characters, and some of the characters sounded like they were doing line readings. Like in the trailer, everybody just sounded, like this, little stuff. And I kept wondering, getting a little bit nervous about it when I saw it in the trailers, and it turned out what I saw on the screen was pretty much what you saw in the movie. The people that I thought tried to give it all their best was for Miles Teller as Reed. He does try to put some feeling into it, as well as Toby Cabell as Doom. I think he does very well portraying this smug, know-it-all type of character. But for me, the worst offenders were Reg E. Cathy as Dr. Storm. He's like, well, these kids aren't ready yet, I don't think they can do that. I'm like, oh, please. But out of the Fantastic Four team themselves, the one that I really could not stand listening to was Kate Mara as Sue Storm. As a matter of fact, I would say the best acting came out of not of the lead characters, but Dan Castellaneta, who plays Reed's science teacher. He was the only one that I felt like he put any emotion and any feeling into his character, and he's only in the movie for, what, 10 minutes? Casting of Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm didn't really bug me quite as much as other people did, but I do feel like there were some missed opportunities as having Sue be Dr. Storm's adopted daughter instead of, you know, a full-blooded sister, because I think the rivalry between the two could have been stronger instead of, you know, Johnny's being rebellious because his adopted sister, you know, their dad's is, you know, paying more attention to her than him and stuff, and I feel like in some ways if it was different, it could have been stronger. The dialogue itself sounded like something that a middle schooler wrote. I mean, it's really not colorful, and I found it to be rather plain. And some plot points didn't make sense. For example, the college that the kids, I think Becker or something, I can't remember what it's called, where the characters go to. Eventually, when they discover, you know, that other dimension, that other planet, they want to go, and the head of I can't remember if it was NASA or somebody. His character, the character's name is Harvey. He's like, sorry, we're going to send astronauts, and the Reed and all of them are disappointed. Well, that makes sense to me. If you find another planet, you send astronauts, you send professionals. You don't send college students to something that could be potentially dangerous. And sometimes plot points like that just sounded like a convenience to me. The weirdest moment for me was there's a scene where Johnny Storm is drag racing, and he's ripping down the street, and you know what song is playing? A Motown love song called Standing in the Shadows of Love by the Four Tops, which to me felt really out of place. And I could tell what was reshot. In addition to, you know, Sue having a different hair, the acting was much better. Some of the acting was actually, the actors were putting more feeling and more emotion in the script, or in those little reshoot scenes. Another thing was, when I was watching the movie, Doom disappears for a while, and I kept wondering what was going on with him and how he was doing. I like that the movie took risks in making Fantastic Four as more of a character drama in a perhaps realistic setting, but if you're going to try something like that, you need a good script to make it work, and you need direction, the really good direction to pull it off. Josh Trank had only directed one movie, Chronicle, before that, which I personally thought was okay, so I don't know if I would have given a big project like this to somebody that was just starting out, but who is really to blame? You know, is Trank to blame? Is the studio to blame? Are they both to blame? Who knows? I can't quite recommend the Fantastic Four. I admire that they tried some different things, but it just didn't come together. And if Fox is going to continue with the Fantastic Four, supposedly they still are at this time, get somebody who's been directing for a while, get a good script writer, and just, you know, go from there. Alright, so that's my review of the Fantastic Four. Go ahead and post your comments about the movie. Do you disagree with me on some things? Do you agree with me? Go ahead and post your thoughts, and feel free to visit the main page and look at some other reviews of movies that are currently in theater, on demand, streaming, on DVD, Blu-ray. It's all there. Thank you very much for watching.